Guys, moments such as these have always meant so much to my heart and soul because it always does me a world of good to know that the videos that I've created have gone on to resonate with far more people than I ever imagined they would. When I first launched this YouTube channel, I never had Disney Channel. Disney Channel was only exclusive through certain times of the year. So when you could watch Disney Channel 25 years ago, it was really a moment in time that you wish you could stop. A moment in time that you wish could last for forever. And I always remembered sitting in front of my TV on a Friday and Saturday evening, so excited to watch the latest Disney shows and the latest episodes. And I always remembered taking something special away from those episodes of Darkwing Duck and DuckTales and Aladdin and even The Little Mermaid, because The Little Mermaid, you guys know that Ariel is one of my favorite Disney princesses that were ever created because of her story about how she always wanted to be a part of the human world and achieve acceptance. And when she finally found out with Prince Eric, all she wanted to do was spend the rest of her life with him. And they got the chance to live their lives out with each other because they loved each other with all of their heart. And that's something that's always been consistent about these stories. We saw it in the story with Belle and the Beast from Beauty and the Beast in 1991. We saw it with Aladdin and Jasmine in 1992. And I think that's why Descendants of Zombies is so relatable for so many wonderful people, is because these stories that we see in Descendants of Zombies draw inspiration all the time and always take something special away from the stories of Belle and Beast, from the stories of Aladdin and Jasmine, which often we go back to, because no matter how many new things pop up on Disney Plus, the wonderful thing about Disney Plus is it allows you to go back in time and allows you to relive these moments and re-experience them again with your family and the people you love. And I know that no matter who you are watching this video, you all have a moment because of Disney Plus and the movies that you loved, the TV shows that you always remembered. Some of you are probably fans of Phineas and Ferb. Some of you probably love Tangled and Frozen. Some of you probably even perhaps love Hannah Montana like I did years ago, because I saw a world of good in what Miley Cyrus was trying to do and promote. And I always took something special away from her encouragement about how dreams can happen for really everybody. And I think that if we could have a conversation of who is the Hannah Montana of this new generation, I think that Kylie Control's name would obviously have to come up in the conversation, because we talk about Miley, we talk about Demi, we've talked about Selena as the holy trinity more often than enough of Disney Channel. And what it's meant by that is those three are what made Disney Channel so cool to be a fan of in their generation. And now we've kind of come in to a whole new generation and moved away from that, which makes being a fan of Disney that much more fun and even more cooler. And I think that being a fan of Descendants of Zombies is really, really fun for a lot of people, because a lot of people who are fans of it now are just discovering Descendants of Zombies for the first time ever in their lives. So I think that while more people continue to fall in love with this new franchise and these new characters, I think as fans of the original trilogy, like I always was, we can make room for these new fans. We can welcome them into this franchise because we are the ones who know everything. We were the ones who were here first, and I think that we've really achieved our place in history. We've really carved out our legacy because we remember and we always knew what being a fan of the original trilogy was always like. So now that we know everything there is to know about stars like Dove Cameron, Sophia Carson, Cameron Boyce, stars of the past, and seeing them have carved out their own legacies, we can let people know what it really feels like to be a true fan of Descendants of Zombies, because one day they will be able to be considered true fans of Descendants of Zombies too if they're not already. The thing about this new cast is if you actually give them a chance to get to know them, they're really beautiful people. They are forever fearless, forever strong, and forever dedicated to who and what they love, which are all of you. And that's something I've always admired about them. And that's why I've always wanted to take away the criticism that was seen and heard in these conversations that we would often have. Because it is truly heartbreaking when you hear all these critical reviews that are being posted online about Kylie Control from people who don't even really know who Kylie Control is. I think there are so many moments that we had a chance to experience because of Kylie. There were forever so many moments we had a chance to experience because of Sophia Carson, who was one of the more popular characters in the Descendants franchise, who had a story that never really had the chance to tell her story until Descendants 2. The thing about these characters were, no matter what characters we talk about, they all had stories. And there were more significance on the more significant characters placed upon them because they believed that the stories of Mal and Ben were the most important to have been told. And it wasn't until Descendants 2 and Descendants 3 happened that more characters had a greater appreciation to often take away from their stories. I could have only ever wished to have had the chance to grow up and be a true fan of Descendants of Zombies like all of you. Because you guys have obviously felt very passionate about who and what you love. You've known who and what you love for a very long time. So that doesn't give me the right to come on here with my Mickey Mouse jean jacket this evening and criticize you for being a fan of Descendants of Zombies. It just gives me a right to come on here and be so proud to call myself a fan and to be a part of this generation, because you obviously know more than I ever have, and you are what first introduced me to the concept and the stories and the characters that you love so much. So for anybody to come on here and criticize your favorite stars, there really is no point. It never really serves any purpose, and all it does is really break hearts. And I've never ever wanted to break anybody's heart. All I've ever wanted to do is give you hope. Because I know, and I've always known, that you guys have always had a special place in your heart for these characters. You've seen something special in their life lessons. They've often taught you about how much further kindness can take people, how much profound impact bullying can have on a person's soul, how it obviously makes you stronger. And we've been made to feel a lot stronger about the futures of Descendants of Zombies as we continue to believe in it even more and more as the time passes, because the most precious commodity we have in this lifetime is time, and we never really take the time to really appreciate how much time we have, because if we did, we probably would have a more vast understanding of how much time really means to people and what we can really do with it. Because often the question will come up in conversations and often resonate with us: what would we do with more time if we had it? Will we go back in time and use that time to tell more people how much we love them and often appreciate them because we forget to time to time? Or would we use that time to go back in time to fix some of our mistakes we've left untouched and unfinished? There are so many questions that have often kind of come up in conversation, or conversations that we never ever thought we'd have. But the thing is, life presents us with so many moments to make the most of these opportunities, to make more friends with more people than ever before, because we often relate to each other because of Descendants of Zombies through the powerful music, the powerful script, each character's individual story. Because no matter animated-wise or live-action-wise, we all took something special away from these stories. One of my all-time favorite characters from Descendants just happened to be Sophia Carson's character Evie, simply because she had no story. When she first began her journey as a Descendants character, she had no story. So what she was left with the responsibility and the distinction to have to do was write her own story and kind of rewrite the story of who the Evil Queen's daughter should have been. And there was nobody who could have ever done it as powerfully as what Sophia Carson was able to do. Sophia Carson went on to touch countless hearts. She went on to become more of an inspiration than I think she ever imagined that she would be, and Dove Cameron did the same. And together, there was something about that duo that you could never get enough of, that you always found time and appreciating. And then 5 years later, here come Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker, seemingly from out of nowhere, who exemplify the exact same thing, but even more powerfully. I think that this new cast is ultimately stronger. They've become stronger because of how much we believed in them, how much incentive and creative energy we've often felt inspired by them, we've taken away from them. I've really loved being a part of this story with all of you. Because it's one thing for me to sit here and talk about all my favorite moments, all my favorite scenes, all my favorite emotional times that I had the chance to experience, because I really had the chance to, experience every emotion in the book. But having to experience it with all of you was an entirely different experience from the ground up. And you guys really made this YouTube channel something so special for me. I will never ever forget how powerful songs like Chillin' Like a Villain and Rotten to the Core were, and I will never forget just how much they meant to so many wonderful people. People were recording videos of themselves all the time, dancing and singing to these songs, learning the choreographing of them, like you did for Life is Sweeter When You Are back in 2024. There was always something special to take away from a song like Life is Sweeter When You Are, because you always had a greater appreciation for the 15 characters, somewhere between 15 and 17 characters that were featured in that music video. And I really do believe that that music video showed us so much incentive and gave us so much inspiration about how much further kindness can really take a person down the line. And I think there are far more people falling in love with this franchise, because as time goes on, the thing about the Descendants movies are, people have often wondered if the music is going to be just as good as the first and going to be just as eye-catching. It really is, because Descendants has always had this way of changing the music from chapter to chapter, but the music has always gotten better, and the story has become that much deeper. So as we look at the setup for Descendants 5 with Wonderland, it's obviously a darker presentation. It's obviously a deeper one with that. And we are going to take away more inspiration from who the villain is. The sister that Red and Chloe may have created, because she claims she's just here to have fun. But now I've often wondered if she's just here to have fun, or she's here to do something else, probably shake things up a little bit more. And the thing about Liamani Segura is she is a really beautiful person. She is a really beautiful person through and through. I know that's how Disney wants their images to be all the time, and that's kind of how they put themselves out there for being. But she really is a beautiful person, and her appreciation for life is something that I can't get enough of. It kind of reminds me of how appreciative Ali and AJ were of their lives and how much their lives have changed 25 years after the fact. They had a certified platinum album release called Into the Rush. Into the Rush was a beautiful album because every song on Into the Rush from Ali and AJ made perfect sense about life. And it helped you make sense of your own life. Because in every song, from Something More to On the Ride to Collapse, every single song on there was a song that often allowed you to relate to your life and kind of escape the fact that you were faced with whatever you were faced with or going to face. It helped you make sense of life perfectly. And I think that in that generation that I was a fan of, that I remembered growing up in, I wish that we could have seen more stars quite like Ali and AJ. And now in this generation, I really wish that this wasn't the last of their generation and the last of their kind, because what we are witnessing are really the last of a generation. So because we are witnessing the last of a generation, we should honor that fact. And we should invest more money into YouTube content creation, invest things like microphones and professional cameras to really help bring the story of Descendants of Zombies to life. Just to let you guys in a little something, today I just purchased a brand new Bluetooth microphone to film this channel with, and you guys will see it in the coming weeks. The thing is, guys, I put so much time and money and investment behind this YouTube channel because I believed in Descendants of Zombies just as much as you. Here's the thing. I'm a ride or die fan. You know it. You know yourself you're a ride or die fan. And I know that there are people out there who have often questioned why Disney has seen a lack of promotion for Wicked Wonderland. And why do you think that is? Because they're leaving it up to us, when you really think about it, to promote the thing. So because they're leaving it up to us through our graphics and our videos and our conversations and our comments and our likes. Our likes and our subscriptions have garnered over 80% of the attention for Descendants of Zombies. It's never really been about Camp Rock 3 because nobody really cares. What it's always been about is Descendants of Zombies because it's really a ride or die moment for all of us that we just love living through. And we love being there for each other to help each other make sense of Descendants of Zombies. And what's really wrong with that? There's never been anything wrong with helping each other make sense of Descendants of Zombies, because in the novelty of some fans who are falling in love with these franchises for the first time ever, there comes an opportunity and a chance for us to make more friends and be more welcoming to people to help them really understand and often make sense of this franchise, which I had the chance to do. I never imagined that this YouTube channel would have went on to become everybody's favorite, but it has, and I felt more than honored to be here to be able to cover Descendants of Zombies in the way that I was allowed to. Because the thing is, guys, there are far too many critics who have tried to kind of put a damper on our hopes and our dreams or anything having to do with Descendants of Zombies for far long enough, and I think that is completely unnecessary, because when you can enlighten the mood with something nice to say about Descendants of Zombies, I think you should. So because you should take yourself upon the opportunity to really enlighten the mood, that's really a wonderful experience for us all to be a part of. And I think as we marvel in what Descendants of Zombies has become, it gives us a chance to always say something nice. Something nice about Freya Sky's Stars Align Tour, something nice to always say about Descendants of Zombies, because we really can. Here's the thing. We really can choose to say something nice about Descendants of Zombies. It's beyond me why so many people have chosen this YouTube channel as their favorite, but they have. They've seen me make a lot of sacrifices for this YouTube channel, put a lot of money and investment and time into content creation, because I've really loved being a part of this story. Having the chance to be a part of your story and your world became one of the greatest honors of my life and the most fun that I've ever had. I've never had as many opportunities as I had at the expense of Descendants of Zombies, and I obviously seized those opportunities because I knew that somebody out there, the only hope I've ever had is that somebody out there who loved Descendants of Zombies with all their heart were going to see these videos, and some way or somehow we're eventually going to subscribe here. Maybe not from the first video, but perhaps from the second or the third. They would always come back. I always wanted to give somebody a reason to come back to hear what I would always have to say about Descendants of Zombies and stars like Ali and AJ and Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez, because I saw something special in them. I always did, I always have, and I always will. And I will always support you in your hopes and your dreams of being a fan of Descendants of Zombies, because you always wanted to see something special happen for these franchises and you just wanted to be a part of it. Thank you so much for always and forever allowing me the opportunity to have been a part of your world and to have been considered a very valued piece of this puzzle for Descendants of Zombies as we make our way into the future, and a future that seems very uncertain, I get that, but a future that's also really something to be excited about, and I'm just so honored to be here with all of you. So as I make my way out this evening, thank you so much with my Mickey Mouse jacket and all. Thank you so much for all the love and support that you have shown this YouTube channel. And if I actually just stand up here behind the microphone, I can show you guys the symbol on this Mickey Mouse jean jacket. There you see it right there. Just to let you guys know that it is a Mickey Mouse jacket, and I've loved wearing it. I've been looking for a Mickey Mouse leather jacket for a really long time, a jean jacket for a really long time, and I finally found one just a couple of weeks ago. I got it on discount because, of course, many of these content creators will tell you that they make a lot of money on YouTube, which is never really true. Pretty much everything that I've had to do here on this YouTube channel, I've had to pay for myself. All the movie premieres that I have the chance to attend, I pay for myself. And a lot of these content creators will tell you that they're pretty much pushed through these premieres and they're sponsored. That's never really the case. I create, and don't let them know I told you that. But the thing is, I create these videos with so much incentive and creative energy because I've just wanted to create something special for all of you to make you feel even more a part and obviously connected to the franchises, the stories, and the people who brought these characters to life, because the reality of life is we only have one life to live, and they are just like each and every one of us. They all have hearts and they all have souls, and because they're just like all of us, they deserve a chance, and more of a chance than ever before. And forgive me for probably being the only guy on YouTube who's ever believed that or ever thought that. If the thought has ever crossed your mind, if you should ever give these new stars a chance, perhaps you should. I know there are people saying they're not going to go to the Worlds Collide Tour. They're choosing to opt out because of no Freya, no Kylie, no Malia. And while I can feel real sympathetic for them because they're diehard fans of Kylie, Malia, and Freya, the thing is, the door has never been more widely open to give these new stars like Leah Money a chance. By saying you're not going to go because Kylie and Malia and Freya aren't there, you're kind of choosing to never give Leah Money the chance she deserves. Forgive me, but when I hear Leah Money saying on a podcast that her greatest dream is to perform on the stage at Madison Square Garden, I say, what can we do to make that happen for her? Because she deserves just as much of a chance. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she really does deserve more of a chance. And I think we can really make that happen for her, along with everybody else who may be a part of Descendants of Zombies and even Camp Rock 3, because if we give it a chance, it will only make us fall more in love with the stars and the stories that we've loved so much. Because in every constellation we look at every night, we look at the same constellation. Their stars have never shined brighter than ever before. And as we look at the same moon and the same stars every night, because you're looking at the same moon that I am, the one thing I've always wanted you guys to take away from every video that I've ever recorded is that everybody has a light, everybody eventually finds that light, and we will get there. Even when it seems like it's going to take us forever, we will get there, and we will experience it together. Because there's no better way to experience Descendants of Zombies than by having a hope, having a dream, realizing those goals and those dreams, and having something so special happen for us when it comes to Descendants of Zombies. Thank you so much for always holding a special place in your heart for every video that I created, and really, when it comes down to it, that we created together. And thank you so much for always and forever believing in this YouTube channel with all of your heart, because I could have never done this without any of you. Just know as we look at the same moon and the same constellation tonight, somewhere out there in those stars, those great stars, there are great kings. And they are looking down upon us, and they are looking down upon the stars of Descendants of Zombies, because we are their greatest fans. We are seeing heroes in them all the time. So because we see heroes in them, that means we should give them a chance, because their stars are about to shine brighter than ever before. And the great kings realize that. And the great kings are making their dreams come true every single time they step out onto that stage. They step out onto the Worlds Collide Tour. They step out onto the set of Descendants of Zombies. You know, Mufasa said it best when he looked at Simba and said, you know, up there in the sky, the great kings look down upon us because they believe in us and they believe in our dreams. So I think if we take that incentive from Mufasa and apply that to Descendants of Zombies, only wonderful things are going to happen for them. And I truly believe that we are in store to be a part of history and in store to have the chance to be a part of something so special. So thank you so much for believing in this YouTube channel with all of your heart. And as always, from my heart to yours, always and forever, thank you so much for having watched these videos.